Hey everyone, welcome back. This is the video you've all been waiting for, the one I've promised you over and over again. Today, I'm finally bringing you the complete course on how to sell your products on Etsy and Amazon. Now listen carefully. This video is going to be a bit long, but trust me, the information you'll get here, you won't even find it in paid courses. So grab yourself a nice cup of coffee, relax, and make sure you listen to every single minute till the very end. Don't get bored because you'll only need to watch this video once in your life, and then you'll be ready to apply everything you learn forever. This course is going to cover everything you can imagine, from the design stage to all the different methods of creating your book, designing your cover, making your product images, and finally, uploading your book on Etsy and Amazon. You all know that activity books and math books are some of the top sellers, making thousands of dollars every month. So it's essential that your store includes at least 3 activity books and 3 math books for different age groups. That's a must for any store that sells children's books or digital products. And now, let me tell you, I've divided this course in a clear, organized way so you won't get lost or bored. And there are plenty of gifts waiting for you along the way. So make sure you listen carefully to every minute of this video, because it's packed with value you won't find anywhere else. Before we get started, don't forget to support me by hitting that like button, leaving a comment, and subscribing to the channel so I can keep creating more amazing content for you completely free. Seriously, it helps a lot and keeps this channel alive. Now, before we begin, I want to share something important. I have over 7 years of experience in designing and selling digital products, and I truly believe that everything I've learned, the essence of my experience, is packed right here in this free course. So please, don't hesitate to share this video with your friends. It's the best way to say thank you. In this full course, as I mentioned, I've carefully selected 2 digital products that are selling every single day on Etsy and Amazon, the Math Workbook and the Activity Book. These 2 are absolute best sellers, and you're going to learn exactly how to create them from scratch. We'll start this course together with the design phase. We'll be creating 2 full books. One activity book, which we'll design using ready-made bundles available online that you can easily edit in Canva. I'll show you how to choose the right bundle, and we'll be using my own bundle to design the entire activity book. And trust me, it won't take long at all. Then, in the second part of this video, we'll design a complete 100-page math book on Canva, page 1 through the very last page, so that by the end of this video, you will be able to create a very professional math book and see the results for yourself. After that, we'll design a professional cover for the math book, then move on to creating highly professional listing images easily and efficiently. Next, we'll walk through uploading the math book to Etsy and to Amazon step by step. I also teamed up with one of this channel's followers, Ruby Sam. Big thanks to her for agreeing to share her Amazon and Etsy accounts, and I gave her the math book completely free so we could demonstrate the real process. Let's jump straight into the detailed steps and explain everything precisely and with top quality. So let's get into the completely free digital products course now. All right, let's dive right into the first stage of this course. How to choose the product you'll design and sell, whether it's on Amazon or Etsy. First of all, once you gain some experience in this field, you can start exploring both platforms yourself and look for products that have low or no competition, yet still manage to get great sales. But honestly, the method I personally prefer is this. Follow content creators like me. Because creators like us already do the hard part for you. We research and find those winning products on your behalf. It saves you tons of time and helps you focus on creating instead of guessing. Now, there's another way too. You can subscribe to websites that suggest profitable or trending products, but I don't recommend that for beginners. I want you to avoid paying even a single cent before you start making sales. And once you begin earning, then we can talk about investing. And yes, I'll explain exactly where and how you can invest wisely later in this course. So how will you know if a product has low competition but still gets good sales? It's all about testing and experimenting with different keywords, whether on Amazon or Etsy. For example, if we go to Amazon and search for something broad like math books for kids, we'll find over 60,000 results, which means competition is absolutely fierce. You can't really target such a broad keyword and expect to get good sales. But here's where the smart part comes in. Make a small change. Instead of a general math book, search for something more specific, like math book for 3-year-olds. Just by making that tiny adjustment, the results drop to 30,000. That's already half the competition gone. And if we go even deeper, let's try searching for a specific activity instead of a full math book. For example, addition and subtraction for kids. You'll notice there are only about 8,000 results, which is fantastic. Any keyword with less than 10,000 results gives you a solid chance to make consistent sales. And when you scroll down, you'll see that the books ranking for those smaller keywords are actually doing really well in sales. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Use your brain when researching. Think creatively. And that's the method I personally prefer and rely on the most. And now let's move on to the second part of this course, which is also the longest and most detailed section of the entire video. This part is all about the book design phase, and it's where most of the real work happens. There are 3 main ways to design your book, and we're going to start with the first one. The first method is to hire a designer through freelance platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, and other similar sites that most people know. However, I don't really recommend this method for beginners, and here's why. It's expensive. You'll end up spending a lot of money before you even make a single sale. For example, designing a 100-page book could cost you anywhere from $90 to $140, and that's just for the design and cover. So if you're still new and not yet generating sales, this option isn't practical at all. But if your Etsy or Amazon store grows and you're already making consistent sales, if you have loyal followers who buy every product you release, then yes, that's the time when you can start investing in high-quality professional book designs. Because at that stage, it's worth every penny you spend. The second way to design your book is to create it yourself, from the very first page to the very last, including the cover. And honestly, this is my favorite method, especially for beginners. That's exactly why I built this entire channel, completely free, so you can learn how to design children's books and kids' products in a truly professional way, without paying anyone a single dollar. And if you actually compare the designs we create here on this channel with the ones being sold on Amazon or Etsy, you'll notice that ours are way better in quality and creativity. I've spent years and years designing these types of books, refining every detail. So when I say this method works, I mean it. That's why I strongly recommend you keep following this channel and others like it, because they'll help you master book design like a real professional. I know, designing books by yourself can feel really tough at the beginning. But trust me, with time, trial and error, a few failures, and some small wins along the way, you'll eventually be able to create your own book completely from scratch, and it'll look amazing. The key is to keep going. Don't give up. And soon, you'll start seeing incredible success. But I also need to be honest. This method takes time. For example, if you're designing a 100-page math book with a cover, it might take you around a week of focused work. That's totally fine, because if we truly want to make money from this business, we need to dedicate real time to it. Even just working 2 hours a day is more than enough to make solid progress. So don't rush. Enjoy the process. And remember, every hour you invest brings you one step closer to your first big success. Now let's move on to the third method, which I personally think is a great option for beginners, and that's to buy ready-made book bundles. These bundles are usually super affordable, but you have to choose them carefully. See, there are many designers out there who just grab pre-made pages from Canva or other design sites, throw them together, and sell them as bundles to beginners. That's why you need to be smart and selective when choosing the right one. Let me share a few important points on how to pick the right bundle. First, always check the seller's page. Browse through it and look at examples from every book they include. Let's take my bundle as an example. It includes 80 books, each one packed with valuable content. And guess what? For a very limited time and with limited stock, you can get 20% off if you use the code MO20 when purchasing through the link I left for you in the pinned comment. And don't worry, I'll also show you in this video how to use these bundles effectively, even if you're not planning to buy any right now. And if you can't access them for some reason, just message me and I'll personally teach you how to find and use them yourself. Now let's talk about the conditions your bundle must meet before you buy it, because not all bundles are worth it. First, make sure you can mix the pages together. You don't want each design to be completely separate. We want to be able to combine these designs and pages to create new, original books. Second, the bundle must have the correct dimensions for Etsy and Amazon. For example, the standard size should be 8.5 by 11 inches. This is super important if you want your books to look professional and be accepted on those platforms. Third, don't settle for PDF files only. You should get Canva links so you can edit and customize everything exactly the way you want. That's what gives you full creative control. And finally, make sure the seller provides resale rights. We'll talk more about that in detail later in this video because understanding resale rights is crucial if you want to sell these books legally and confidently. So, to summarize everything we've covered so far in this video, there are 3 main ways to design your book. The first way is to hire professional designers to create your book for you. But honestly, I don't recommend this for beginners because it can be very expensive. The second way, and my personal favorite, is to design the book yourself, from start to finish. It might take time at first, but it's the best way to learn and grow in this business. And the third way, which I also highly recommend, is to buy ready-made bundles created by professional designers, then edit and resell them as your own. It's smart, efficient, and helps you launch faster without starting from zero. All right, now let's move on to the third and longest part of this video, the part you've all been waiting for. In this section, we're going to design a complete 100-page math book from scratch. Then we'll move on to creating a professional cover, followed by designing the listing images for Etsy, the ones that make your product stand out and attract buyers instantly. So let's dive right in. Don't get tired. This is where you'll learn a ton and see everything come together step by step. Let's jump straight into Canva and start creating a brand new design with the perfect kid-friendly dimensions, 8.5 by 11 inches. On the very first page of every book you make, always make sure it's the page where the child can write their name. So, I'll press the letter T on the keyboard to add a text box and then type, "This book belongs to." Next, I'll slightly increase the font size and place it neatly at the top of the page. Now, I'll press the letter L to create a straight line, then change that line into a dotted line, reduce its thickness to about 1.5, make it a bit larger, and place it right below the title we just added. The purpose of this line is simple. It gives the child a space to write their name proudly. Don't get bored, my friend. I'm teaching you every tiny detail that makes your book stand out. I really hope you're taking notes because this is where you start designing like a pro. Also, don't forget to add page numbers to your book. This gives it a professional touch and makes it look polished and organized. Here's how we'll do it like a pro. I'll add a straight line again by pressing the letter L on the keyboard, then drag it down to the bottom of the page. Next, I'll head over to the Shapes section and pick a rectangle. From the top menu, I'll change its color to white, give it a thin black border, about 1 pixel thick, and then drag it to the bottom center of the page, right over the line we just created. Now it's time to add the page number. To save time, I'll simply duplicate the title text, replace it with the number of this page. Since this is the first one, we'll type 1. Make sure you test it by replacing the number with 100, the largest page number in your book, to check if the box fits nicely. And just like that, we've finished the first page. It now has a neat space for the child to write their name and a clean, professional page number at the bottom. Beautiful start. All right, let's move on to designing the second page. I'll start by duplicating the first page so we can keep the same layout and save time. Then I'll delete the title at the top since we don't need it here, and I'll change the page number to the correct one, which is page 2. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, if you'd like to protect your work so no one copies or steals it, You can add a small copyright notice on the first page only. Just write something simple like copyright your brand name, all rights reserved, and place it neatly at the bottom. Also, to make your first page more fun and kid-friendly, you can add a small math-themed graphic. Since we're designing a math book, go to the Elements tab on Canva and search for Math Outline. Then just pick a cute, child-friendly illustration that matches the theme, maybe numbers, shapes, or a cartoon calculator, and place it right in the center of the page. That little touch will make your book look so much more appealing to kids and parents alike. Now let's move on to the first real content pages of our book, the learning section. Since we're creating a math book for kids aged 3, we have to start from the basics, teaching them numbers from 1 to 100 before jumping into any math exercises. So here's the plan. The first 10 pages of our book will be fully dedicated to numbers. Each page will feature 10 numbers. For example, page 1 will go from 1 to 10, page 2 from 11 to 20, and so on until we reach 100. The goal here is simple. Help the child recognize the numbers and trace them. This tracing practice builds strong number recognition and handwriting skills while keeping it fun and easy for little learners. So get ready. We're about to make these first pages not only educational, but also super engaging for young kids. So how are we going to do this? Let's jump right into Canva and open our second page. That's where we'll start building the structure. First, go to the search bar and look for Table. Just right-click on the table and choose Delete Rows and Columns until you're left with only one single cell. This single cell table will be our base, and you'll be using it on almost every page in your math book. So go ahead and copy it and keep it ready. Now let's tweak the style. Reduce the border thickness to about 1.5 and change the line style to dotted. That gives it a soft, kid-friendly look. Next, duplicate that shape about 12 times and start arranging them neatly across the page, evenly spaced and centered. This way, you'll have clean dotted boxes where you can place the numbers beautifully. And trust me, once you see the layout come together, you'll understand exactly why we did it this way. All right, let's give our page a title now. This will make it look clean and organized. To save time, we'll simply go back to the first page, copy the title, and paste it here on our second page. Now, I always prefer to place my titles on a straight line. It just gives the whole page a more polished, professional look. And don't forget, I love adding a rounded edge to that line to make it softer and more playful for kids. Let's now change the text to match our page. Type trace numbers 1 to 10, since, as I mentioned earlier, each page will have 10 numbers, so this first one covers numbers 1 through 10. Next, it's time to fill our dotted boxes. I'll add a text box, type the number 1, and then change the font to ABC Print. It's perfect for tracing and looks clean for little learners. And don't worry, I'll leave a link to download it for free in the pinned comment. To test the layout, I'll type a large number like 133, just to make sure each box is wide enough for bigger digits. Once it looks right, I'll copy that text box and fill all 12 dotted rectangles with the numbers in order. And just like that, our page is ready. It now has 12 cute dotted boxes, each with a traceable number inside, perfectly designed for little kids to learn and practice their numbers in a fun way. Now let's start filling in the boxes with our numbers from 1 to 10. I'll begin with the first box on the left, typing the number 1. Then continue in order, 2, 3, 4, and so on, all the way up to 10. But here's something important to notice. The last row of our layout contains 3 boxes, and since we only need 10 numbers, we'll keep things balanced by deleting the left and right boxes in that final row and leaving only the middle one for number 10. Now, instead of leaving those 2 empty spaces, which might make the page look unfinished, I'll replace them with cute illustrations. Maybe a happy boy on one side and a smiling girl on the other. These little touches make the page look so much more fun and appealing for kids. And just like that, our first numbers page is complete. It's bright, playful, and perfect for children learning to trace numbers. To create the next page, we'll simply duplicate this one, the one with numbers 1 to 10, and change the title to Trace Numbers 11 to 20. Then we'll update the numbers inside the boxes, replacing them with 11 through 20, exactly the same way we just did. Keep following along. You'll see how fast and easy this becomes once you understand the pattern. I think by now you've totally got the idea behind those first 10 pages, right? So to save a little time, I'll go ahead and speed up the process for the rest of them. All we need to do is duplicate the page, then update the numbers according to each new section, making sure that each page includes 10 numbers in order. For example, the first page covers 1 to 10, the next one 11 to 20, and so on, all the way until we reach the 10th page of our book, which will include numbers 91 to 100. And congratulations! You've just completed 10 amazing pages of your math book, easily, smoothly, and with a design that looks fantastic. Keep going, because what's coming next will take your book to a whole new level. Let's take a quick look at the 10 pages we've just designed together. The first page includes the numbers 1 to 10, where the child will trace and shade each one to start learning the basics of counting. The second page covers numbers 11 to 20, and each following page continues the same pattern, step by step, until we finally reach the 10th page, which contains the numbers 91 to 100. I think these 10 pages turned out really well. They're simple, engaging, and perfect for kids to build their confidence. Remember, in every book you design, it's always best to progress gradually, from the easiest exercises to the more challenging ones. That's the method I always follow, and it truly works. All right, now let's move on to the next 5 pages of our book, and these are going to be a little more advanced. After the kids have learned how to write numbers from 1 to 100, it's time to test their understanding. So these next pages will be all about fill the missing numbers in sequence. For example, in each exercise, we'll give the child 2 numbers inside a small table, and they'll need to fill in the missing ones in between. Each table will have 4 cells, allowing them to practice sequencing and pattern recognition. It's a super fun and effective way for kids to strengthen what they've learned while keeping them engaged. So let's see together how we'll design this section step by step. Perfect. Now we're getting into the fun, creative part of designing this section. To make this exercise page, we'll simply duplicate the last page we worked on. But this time, we'll remove all the old boxes and contents, leaving just one single table, which will later turn into a grid. Next, we'll change the page title to say, Fill the missing numbers in sequence. Then, instead of having dotted borders, we'll switch the table lines back to solid lines, using the border options at the top. We want our table to have 4 cells, so we'll right-click and choose to add 4 columns. After that, we'll resize the table to make it fit nicely on the page, not too small, not too big. Once we click inside the cells, we can easily type numbers inside them. Let's set the font size a little smaller so it looks balanced. In the first example, we'll write number 1 in the left cell and number 4 in the right cell. The child's task will be to fill in the 2 middle boxes with 2 and 3, because 2 comes after 1, then 3, then 4. Simple, clear, and fun. Now, we'll duplicate this table 4 more times, so the page contains 5 exercises in total. In each one, we'll change the numbers. For example, second table 3 and 4, child fills 5 and 6. Third table 5 and 6, 7. Child fills 6 and 8, and so on, each time increasing the difficulty a little. In the final table on the page, we can make it trickier by giving just 1 starting number, letting the child complete the rest on their own. Once this page is done, we'll duplicate it to create 5 total pages, only changing the numbers and gradually raising the challenge until we reach 100. That's it! 5 smartly designed, skill-building pages, and the kids will absolutely love solving them. All right, let's take a look together at the 5 pages we've just designed. Honestly, they look amazing. Clean layout, fun structure, and totally engaging for kids. This exercise is such a smart follow-up. After children have already learned to write numbers from 1 to 100, this activity helps them recognize and recall numbers faster. It's not just repetition. It's a fun challenge that strengthens their memory and confidence while keeping the learning light and playful. So, yes, I completely agree with you. These 5 pages are fantastic, and they'll make a huge difference in how kids master their number skills. Now let's move on to the next 5 pages, and trust me, you're going to love these ones. These pages are all about a fun exercise called matching. It's simple, creative, and perfect for kids. Here's how it works. On the right side, we'll place 4 boxes, each containing a number. For example, one box might have the number 1, another might have the number 3, and so on. Then on the left side, we'll have 4 more boxes, but instead of numbers, we'll put cute objects or animals that kids adore. For example, the first box might have 1 chicken, and the second one might have 3 ladybugs. The child's task is to draw a line connecting the box with the chicken to the number 1, and the box with the 3 ladybugs to the number 3. It's a wonderful way to help kids understand counting through visuals, and it's going to look so adorable once we design it. All right, let's see how to create this activity quickly and easily. As usual, I'll start by duplicating the last page, just like we always do, and then I'll remove all the boxes, leaving only one to work with. Next, I'll change the title at the top to say, match the same number to amount. Then, I'll drag that single box, make it a bit larger, and position it at the top left corner of the page. After that, I'll duplicate it and place the copy on the top right side. Now, I'll select both boxes together and duplicate them again, until I have 8 boxes in total, 4 on the left and 4 on the right, forming 2 neat columns. After that, I'll head over to the Elements tab and search for Animals Outlines. I'll fill the boxes on the left side with cute animal shapes and fun objects that kids love, each with a different count. For example, in the first box, I'll place 1 chicken. In the second box, 3 ladybugs. In the third, 2 cauliflowers. And in the last one, maybe 5 of a funny little animal I can't even name. We'll make sure to progress in difficulty throughout these 5 pages, starting with numbers below 10 on the first page. Now, for the boxes on the right side, they'll contain numbers but in a mixed order to make the exercise more fun and challenging. So for instance, the box with 1 chicken on the left will match with the number 1, but I'll place that number in the third box on the right, not the first one. The box with 3 ladybugs will match with the number 3, which I'll put in the first box. The 2 cauliflowers will connect to number 2 in the last box, and the 5 little animals will go with number 5 in the remaining box. That's it. I think you totally got the idea, and honestly, this page is going to look super fun and engaging for kids. Now, how are we going to design the remaining 5 pages of this exercise? It's simple. We'll just duplicate the current page, then remove all the existing shapes and numbers to start fresh. After that, we'll gradually adjust each page, placing new fun images inside the boxes on the left side and numbers inside the boxes on the right side, so the child can match them correctly. Make sure that the numbers on the right perfectly match the quantity of objects in the boxes on the left. That's really important to keep the logic of the exercise clear and helpful for kids. You can review each page carefully as you go, and I'll speed up this part because you've already mastered the idea. I don't want this video to go beyond an hour and a half or 2 since it really takes a lot of effort. Honestly, this book took me about 12 hours of work to finish, but in the video, you'll only see the fast-forwarded version, sped up more than 20 times to save your time. So please, don't forget to leave me a motivating comment. It really helps me keep going and bring you more tutorials like this one. And just like that, we've finished these 5 matching pages. When you look at them, you'll notice how I progressed from easy to more challenging exercises, making it perfectly suited for young kids to enjoy while learning. All right, now let's move on to the next 5 pages, and I'm sure you're going to love these ones. We're about to create a super fun exercise that kids absolutely enjoy. Here's the idea. We'll add one big box on the page, and inside it, we'll place a group of cute shapes or objects. For example, let's say 8 cupcakes. Then, right below the box, we'll add a few number options like 3, 9, and 8. The child's job is to count the pictures carefully and shade in the correct number that matches the total number of objects. It's such a simple but powerful activity. It helps children practice counting, observation, and number recognition, all while having fun. So, let's jump right into Canva and start designing this adorable exercise together. Okay, now let's get hands-on and build this awesome activity step by step. I'll start by duplicating the last page we finished. Then I'll remove all the extra boxes and keep just one. As usual, I'll change the title to Count the Objects and color the right number. Next, I'll enlarge the box so it stretches across the full width of the page. After that, I'll right-click and choose Add Row. Then I'll right-click on that new row and select Add 2 Columns. Now pay close attention here. This step is key. I'll select the 3 upper cells, right-click, and hit Merge Cells. And there you go, magic! We now have one big upper cell and 3 smaller ones connected below it. I'll copy this entire table and place another one just below it on the same page. Then I'll start filling each big box with cute child-friendly images. Canva is full of them. For example, in the top box, I'll add 8 adorable cupcakes, arranging them neatly. In the 3 smaller boxes below, I'll type in different numbers. Let's say 3, 8, and 9. The child will count the cupcakes and color number 8 since that's the correct answer. Then, in the second box below, I'll add 3 grapes and again a few number options, one of which will be 3, the correct count. And that's it. I'll keep repeating this same design idea across 5 pages with new objects and numbers each time until the activity looks absolutely perfect for kids to enjoy. Quick tip time. When you're designing the second page of this exercise, don't start from scratch. Simply duplicate the first page, then select both tables together and hit that little lock icon. This locks their position on the page. Once they're locked, you can remove all the images inside them with a single click. Super fast and easy. This way, you won't mess up the layout while changing the content. Now I'll go ahead and design the next 4 pages quickly. All I need to do is add new shapes, count them, and place different numbers below each group. And that's it. The child's task will be to find and color the correct number that matches the count. It's simple, fun, and keeps them learning while playing. And just like that, we've finished designing these 5 pages. Let's take a quick look at them together. Honestly, I think this exercise is one of the best ones inside the entire book. It's super engaging and perfect for kids. Now we've officially completed about a quarter of the book. And guess what? That was the hardest part. The next stages will be easier and faster, so don't lose your energy now. Keep going. I promise you, if you keep your designs this beautiful and appealing, your book will absolutely make great sales. Now let's jump straight into designing the next 5 pages of our amazing book. These 5 pages have a fun and interactive idea. We'll give the child a group of objects and their task will be to count them and write the correct number. Here's how we'll do it. I'll start by copying the last page we designed in our book. Then I'll change the title to Count the Objects and Write the Number. After that, I'll go back to the previous page, copy that same table we used before, right-click on it, and add one more column. I'll stretch it a bit so it fits nicely across the full width of the page. Now I'll copy this 2-cell table until I have 4 tables on the same page, each one made up of 2 cells. The left cell will be the big one where we'll place the cute countable objects, and the right cell will be the smaller one where the child will write down how many objects they see. Next, I'll head over to the Elements section and start adding shapes and pictures that kids absolutely love. For example, in the first box, I'll place 3 cute dogs. The child will count them and write the number 3. In the second box, I might add 1 crocodile, so the child will count and write 1 because there's only a single crocodile. And of course, just like I've taught you before, we'll always make things a little more challenging step by step as we go. Once I finish the first page, I'll simply duplicate it, remove the old shapes, and add new ones. I'll keep repeating that process until we complete all 5 pages of this exercise. I'll speed this part up a bit, but remember, every page is carefully designed to move from easy to more advanced. And now that we're done, let's take a look at these 5 pages together. They turned out absolutely amazing. The gradual difficulty feels perfect, and honestly, I really love how these pages came out. All right, now let's move on to a new type of exercise, one that's a little more challenging than the previous one. This time, we're going to create an addition activity, but with fun, colorful shapes and pictures that kids love. The idea behind this exercise is simple, but super effective. We'll have 2 boxes, each filled with cute objects. The child will start by counting the shapes inside the left box and writing down the number. Then, they'll count the shapes inside the right box and write that number too. Finally, they'll add the 2 numbers together to find the total. It's a fun and visual way to introduce basic addition without making it feel difficult. Now, let's see exactly how we can design this in Canva. It's actually super simple. All we need to do is add a new page and change the title to Add the Objects in Each Box. Then, we'll go back to the previous page and copy one of the existing tables. Right-click on it and choose Add Column so that the table now has 2 big equal-sized cells. These 2 cells will be for our shapes, meaning we'll place fun pictures inside them for the child to count and add together. Next, we'll duplicate this 2-cell table, place it just below the first one, and resize it slightly smaller. In this smaller table, the right cell will be tiny. That's where the child will write the final total. The left cell will be larger, and in its center, we'll put a plus sign where the child will write the numbers they counted from above. Once that's done, we'll select both tables together and duplicate them to fill the second half of the page. And just like that, our addition activity layout is ready. Let me explain this exercise in a really simple way. In the first example, let's place a car as our main object. The left cell of the first large table will contain 1 car, while the right cell will have, say, 4 cars. Now, the child will start by counting the shapes on the left side. They'll see there's just 1 car, so they'll write the number 1 in the small box right below that large table. Then they'll move to the right side, count the cars there, 4 in total, and write 4 in the second small cell. Finally, they'll add the 2 numbers together. 1 plus 4 equals 5. This type of exercise makes it super easy for kids to understand addition because they can visually count the pictures instead of just dealing with numbers, making math both fun and intuitive. Let me give you another quick example. I'll place an image of 1 corncob inside the left cell of the table on the second half of the page, and then I'll add another corncob inside the right cell. So now we have 1 picture on the left and 1 on the right. The child will count both. That's 1 plus 1 equals 2. Simple, right? The next 5 pages will follow the same exercise style, just like this one. I'll speed up this process to save time, and as always, I'll move from easy to slightly harder examples to help kids progress naturally. I think you've got the idea now, so let's not waste your precious time. Let's keep the momentum going. And after finishing this exercise, let's take a look at the result. We now have 5 pages that move beautifully from easy to more challenging, perfect for gradual learning. If you notice this page, you'll see that I left the right cell empty. That means the child will write 0 there because there's nothing inside. For example, the left cell in this exercise has 5 horses, so the child will write 5 there. And since the right cell is empty, they'll write 0. Then they'll add them up. 5 plus 0 equals 5. Simple and fun. And just like that, we've completed this wonderful activity. Let's move on to the next set of pages. We're getting so close to the end of this amazing book, so don't worry, we're almost there. After training the child to add using pictures and shapes, we'll now move on to a slightly more advanced exercise. This time, instead of counting objects, the child will add the numbers directly, without any pictures to guide them. It's a bit more challenging than the previous activity, but it's the perfect next step to help kids start thinking about numbers on their own. The idea is clear and simple, so let's jump right into designing it. We'll start by adding a new title for these 5 pages. Add the numbers. Then we'll adjust its size and position nicely at the top of the page. After that, we'll go back to the previous page and copy the small table we already created. It's perfectly ready for this exercise. On the left side of the table, we'll place one number, and on the right side, another number with a plus sign in between. The child's task is to add those 2 numbers and write the final sum inside the right cell of the table. For example, let's add text boxes on both sides of the plus sign and adjust the table's size perfectly. Suppose we placed number 1 plus number 2. The child's task will be to write number 3 in the answer cell. Today, I'll copy this same table several times until the page contains 6 tables in total, meaning 6 small addition exercises for the child. Then I'll gradually change the numbers in each table to make the exercises progressively more challenging, helping kids practice step by step without feeling overwhelmed. I think you totally got this exercise. It's super simple. So I'll go ahead and speed up this process while designing the next 5 pages for this activity. As always, I'll progress gradually from easy to hard until we finally reach number 100. And now, take a look at these beautiful pages we've just created. Honestly, I believe this book is going to be absolutely amazing. And if it's marketed the right way, it's going to achieve huge success. All right, let's move on to the next exercise. This one's really clever, so I want you to pay close attention to understand it fully. It's a smart and creative way to teach kids how to subtract, and the exercise is called Find Different Ways to Make 10. The idea is simple. We'll give the child the result first, which is the number 10. Then we'll provide another number, let's say 5, and ask the child, hey there, you have the number 5, so what number do you need to add to 5 to make 10? It's such a fun and fresh approach to teaching subtraction through reasoning and discovery. Now, let's jump straight into how to design this exercise, and you'll immediately understand exactly what I mean. So here's what we're going to do now. We'll start by adding a new title to this page, and we'll call it Find Different Ways to Make 10. Then we'll head back to the previous page and copy one of those tables. After that, we'll duplicate it and remove all the numbers and the plus sign to make a clean template. Next, we'll right-click on the table and add 10 columns. Yes, 10 in total. Don't worry, you'll understand why in just a second. Once we've got all 10 columns, we'll select them all together and choose Size Columns Equally to make sure every square is exactly the same size. Finally, we'll drag this new table, the one with the 10 cells, and place it right above the table that contains the plus sign, positioned neatly at the top of the page. Okay, now just like I told you, the final result here will always be 10. So we'll go ahead and type 10 inside the right cell of the big table. Then, on the left side of that same table, we'll give the child a single number, let's say 5, and right next to it, we'll add the plus sign. The child's task now is to look at that number 5, then move up to the small table above, the one with 10 empty cells, and color 5 of those boxes. Once they do that, they'll notice that 5 boxes are still left uncolored, meaning there are 5 remaining. So now they can clearly see that 5 plus 5 equals 10. This way, the child visually understands the concept. We're helping them discover how to make 10 using this clever grid with 10 little squares. After that, we'll simply duplicate both of these tables, the one with the 10 boxes on top and the main equation box below, a few times, until the page includes 4 full exercises of this activity. Then, all we need to do is change the numbers inside each equation to create different challenges. For example, in the second exercise, instead of giving the child number 5, we'll write number 2. So now the child will look at the number 2, color 2 boxes from the 10 above, and then count the remaining boxes. They'll find 8 left, which means they discovered another way to make 10. 2 plus 8 equals 10. And that's how we help them explore different combinations to reach 10. It's fun, visual, and teaches math through discovery, not memorization. Once I finish this page, I'll simply duplicate it again and start changing the numbers. I'll speed up this part so you don't get bored watching. But now, the next exercise will be a little more advanced. Instead of asking the child to find different ways to make 10, I'll change the title to Find Different Ways to Make 15. Here's the trick. I'll increase the number of boxes in the top table. Instead of 10 boxes, there will now be 15. I'll also replace every value of 10 in the equation boxes with 15. This way, the activity becomes slightly harder and helps the child progress step by step, from simple sums like 10 to higher ones like 15. For example, in this exercise, I'll give the child the number 5 and the final result 15. The child will color 5 boxes in the top grid, then count the remaining boxes. They'll find 10 left. So they'll write 10 in the empty box because 5 plus 10 equals 15. And just like that, the child learns subtraction and addition visually while having fun discovering how numbers work together. After finishing the 3 pages for the number 15, I'll now move on to create 4 new pages focused on the number 20, the next level of difficulty. I'll simply change the title to Find Different Ways to Make 20. And just like before, I'll increase the number of boxes in the top table, this time from 15 to 20 cells. Then I'll update the numbers in the final result to match 20 instead of 15. This gradual progression from 10 to 15 and now 20 is extremely important. Always make sure to move from easy to hard so kids can fully understand how numbers and addition work before introducing something new. I'll speed up this part as usual so we don't make the video longer than 2 hours, which I really hope we can keep under. But trust me, this exercise is absolutely worth the effort. It's one of the most rewarding and effective ones in the entire book. Now, let's take a look at the result of these exercises. I really hope you've understood how they work because honestly, these are some of the smartest and most creative activities you can add to a kid's workbook. I personally love this type of exercise. It's fun, educational, and helps kids think in a deeper, more logical way. And trust me, if you have a child, they'll benefit so much from these pages. They're cleverly designed to teach addition and problem solving in a way that feels like playtime. I can almost guarantee that any mom who sees this workbook will be amazed by how unique and valuable these exercises are. Now let's move on to a more challenging type of addition exercise that I know you're going to love. This one is designed to train kids to think like a calculator. It's super fun and great for mental math. The idea is simple. We'll give the child a starting number, let's say 2, and then ask them to keep adding 2 to that number. So after 2 comes 4, then 6, then 8, and so on. This teaches the concept of skip counting, which is an important foundation for multiplication later on. Now, let's jump right into designing it. We'll create a new page and title it Skip Counting by Twos. Then, we'll take the same table we used before with 15 cells and remove all the extra columns. We only need 4 cells this time. In the first cell on the left, we'll write the starting number, for example, 2. The remaining 3 cells will stay empty for the child to fill in. So they'll write 4 in the second box, 6 in the third, and 8 in the last one. Then I'll simply copy this 4-cell table 5 more times, so the page will have 6 exercises total. And I'll change the starting number in the first cell of each table. The rest will stay blank for the kids to complete on their own. After that, to make the second page, I'll simply copy the first one and change the numbers. Easy, right? Let's speed up this part so we don't waste time. We'll gradually increase the difficulty step by step until we reach around number 100. I'll make about 5 exercises using the same skip counting by twos idea. Then I'll create 2 more pages with the exact same concept, but this time we'll change the title to skip counting by fives. In these new pages, instead of adding 2 to each number, the child will be adding 5. So if the first number is 5, the next will be 10, then 15, then 20, and so on. Just remember, always increase the difficulty gradually, and keep the numbers simple and fun so that the child feels confident while solving the exercises. And I'll also create 2 more pages using the number 10, just like we did before. But this time, instead of the child adding 2 or 5, they'll be adding 10 each time. Then I'll make 2 pages using the number 15 where the child keeps adding 15. And finally, 2 more pages with the number 20. I'll just update the title on each page to match the number being used. So now we've got around 10 full pages of this amazing exercise. Honestly, I love this kind of activity. It's smart, progressive, and super fun for kids to practice counting like little calculators. After finishing all kinds of addition exercises you could ever think of, it's time to move on to subtraction activities. We're almost done with this book, just a little bit left to go. So stay focused with me, don't skip ahead, because you're going to learn a lot today, I promise. The next 5 pages will be all about subtraction instead of addition, and they'll look almost identical to the addition exercises we made just a few minutes ago. So I'll simply go back to those addition pages, copy one of them completely, and then change the title from Add the Shapes to Subtract the Shapes. After that, I'll remove the shapes inside the tables and replace them with new ones, and I'll also swap the plus sign for a minus sign. We'll make 10 full pages of this subtraction exercise. And remember, always make sure that the number of shapes on the left side is greater than on the right, since this book is for kids aged 3 to 10 years old. We don't want any negative results in their exercises. Let me give you an example so it's perfectly clear. In the first table, I'll add 2 shapes. Let's say 2 cute planets in the left cell. Then, in the right cell, I'll place just 1 planet. Now the child will count the shapes on the left side. There are 2, so they'll write the number 2 to the left of the minus sign. Then they'll count the shapes on the right side, only 1, and write the number 1 to the right of the minus sign. Finally, they'll subtract. 2 minus 1 equals 1, and they'll write that result in the final box on the right. In the second part of the page, I'll add, for example, 3 dinosaurs in the left cell and 1 dinosaur in the right cell. So the child will do the same steps. 3 minus 1 equals 2. We're going to create 5 pages of this subtraction style activity, just like the example before. And of course, we'll gradually increase the difficulty step by step. I'll speed this part up because honestly, if I didn't, we'd be sitting here for 20 hours finishing this video. And now that we're done, look at the result. It turned out amazing. I really love it. I think kids will have so much fun, not just practicing subtraction, but also coloring the shapes and taking them away from each other. It's such a creative and fresh way to teach subtraction. I swear, if I were a math teacher, I'd probably be a good one. Just kidding. We're getting so close to finishing this amazing book. Now, let's move on to another type of subtraction exercise, one that's a little more advanced than the previous one. It's number-based subtraction, just like we did earlier with addition. All we have to do is go back to the addition by numbers pages, copy one of them, paste it onto a new page, and change the title to Subtract the Numbers instead of Add the Numbers. Then simply replace all the plus signs with minus signs, and of course, change the numbers too. Make sure the larger number is always on the left side, since this book is meant for young children around age 3. We don't want to confuse them with negative results. We'll create about 5 pages of this exercise. Just copy the page, change the numbers, and leave the boxes on the right empty so the child can write their answers. Honestly, this activity is super simple, but so effective. The next exercise idea is absolutely brilliant, and kids love it. It's all about comparing numbers using the symbols greater than, less than, or equal to. Here's how it works. We'll give the child 2 numbers, for example 5 and 6, and ask, which number is bigger? Of course, the answer is 6 factorial. So the child will place the greater than symbol facing toward the 6. This exercise helps children think critically about numbers and truly understand quantity comparison in a fun way. And just like before, we'll start easy and gradually increase the difficulty so they master the concept step by step. Let's jump right into designing this one. It's going to be an exciting and interactive activity for young learners. All right, let's start building this fun comparison exercise step by step. First, we'll add a new page and write the title. Compare the numbers using greater than, less than, or equal to. Then, we'll adjust the font size so it fits nicely at the top of the page. Not too big, not too small, just perfectly balanced. Next, we'll copy the table from the previous page to save time. Then, with a right click, we'll add 2 more columns. Now our table has 3 columns in total. After that, we'll add 7 rows, meaning each row will hold 1 separate comparison exercise. We'll stretch the table so it fills the page evenly, giving each row plenty of space for kids to work comfortably. Finally, we'll make the left and right columns wider, leaving the middle column smaller, because that's where we'll place the comparison symbol, greater than, less than, or equal to. Perfect setup for a clean and fun worksheet. Perfect. Now you've got the full idea of how this exercise works. Let's make it come alive. Each row will show 2 numbers, one on the left and one on the right, and the middle cell will be left empty. That's where the child will decide which symbol to write, greater than, less than, or equal to. For instance, in the first row, we'll place the number 5 on the left and 6 on the right. Since 6 is bigger than 5, the correct answer is greater than, pointing toward the 6. We can highlight this first row as a guide row, showing the child how to solve the rest of the page. After that, We'll fill the rest of the rows with a mix of numbers, some different, some equal, to give variety and make sure kids understand all three comparison signs. Once the first page is ready, we'll duplicate it 4 more times, just changing the numbers to create fresh exercises. It's super simple. Copy, paste, switch the numbers. And just like that, you'll have 5 full pages of fun and smart comparison practice. Instead of comparing 2 simple numbers, the child will now compare 2 math operations side by side. For example, on the left we might write 1 plus 2, and on the right 2 plus 3. The child will calculate both sides. The first equals 3 and the second equals 5, and then place the correct symbol between them. Since 5 is greater than 3, the child will write the greater than sign, pointing toward 2 plus 3. This activity doesn't just test number sense, it actually helps the child think logically and compare results, just like solving a puzzle. It's a clever and engaging way to make math more challenging and fun at the same time. Let's move on and see exactly how we can design this exercise in the best possible way. We'll take the same table from the previous exercise, but this time we'll widen the left and right columns so they can fit full math problems instead of just numbers. For example, in the first row, we'll write 1 plus 2 on the left side and 2 plus 3 on the right side. The child's job is to figure out which result is larger, in this case 2 plus 3, and then draw the greater than symbol pointing toward it. Don't forget to update the page title to Compare Additions so everything looks clear and professional. After that, just fill the rest of the table with different addition problems for the child to solve. We'll create 2 full pages of this exercise, and yes, we'll speed things up a bit so we don't take too long. This one's going to make the kids feel like little math detectives. Awesome. Now we're moving to the next level with subtraction comparisons. We'll simply copy the last Compare Additions page, and this time we'll change the title to Compare Subtractions. Then we'll replace all addition problems inside the table with subtraction problems instead. Make sure the exercises progress from easy to hard. For example, start with something simple like 5 minus 2 versus 4 minus 1. Then move up to 15 minus 7 versus 9 minus 3, and so on. Some results should be greater, some smaller, and some equal, so the child practices all 3 comparison symbols: greater than, less than, and equal to. Once that's done, we'll have 2 new pages for subtraction, giving us a total of 9 pages so far for comparing numbers and operations. Kids are going to love these logic-style math challenges. It's like solving tiny puzzles every time. Oh, this next one is absolutely genius. I love it already. We're going to create a fun and smart activity called Count 10's Bars. Here's the idea. Each bar will represent 10 blocks, and the child's job is to count the total number of blocks by looking at how many bars there are. So for example, if we place 3 bars, each made of 10 little squares, the child will count 10, 20, 30, and write 30 as the answer. This activity helps children visualize groups of tens, making it easier for them to understand larger numbers and prepare for multiplication later. To build it, we'll design one page with several sets of these bar groups, maybe some with 1 bar, some with 2, 3, or 5 bars, and we'll leave a space for the child to write the total number. Once the first page is ready, we'll make 8 pages in total, gradually increasing the difficulty and variety of bar arrangements. This one's going to look super clean and professional, and kids will totally enjoy counting these colorful bars. The process here is super simple and creative. I'll scroll up a bit because I want to reuse that same table layout. I'll copy it, delete the images inside, and then change the title to Count the Tens bars and color the right number. Next, I'll head over to the Elements tab and search for Cube. Once I pick that yellow cube, Canva will automatically suggest 10 bars made from the same cubes. Perfect! I'll choose the one that has exactly 10 blocks, resize it to fit neatly inside the table, and change its color from yellow to white, since our book is in black and white. For the first exercise, we'll keep it simple, just 3 bars, each with 10 blocks, and I'll write a few multiple choice options like 30 and 60. The correct answer, of course, is 30. Then, in the second exercise, we'll raise the challenge. Let's add 6 bars, meaning the answer will be 60, and so on. We'll continue increasing the difficulty step by step until we've got 5 full pages of this awesome activity. As always, I'll speed through this part. You already know the routine, so we can finish these pages quickly while keeping that perfect balance from easy to challenging. Alright, now we're moving on to the next level. This exercise will have 4 pages and it's a bit trickier than the last one. Instead of using only 10 bars, we'll also start adding individual cubes to push the child's counting skills further. For example, imagine we've placed 1 full bar, that's 10 cubes, and then added 3 single cubes beside it. The total becomes 13. See? It's still visual and fun, but now the child has to think a little more carefully. To create this, I'll go back to the previous design we made, copy the same layout, and then add a few loose cubes next to the bars inside each table. In the first activity, maybe 1 bar and 3 cubes. In the second, 2 bars and 5 cubes. Each time, the number grows and the challenge increases. We'll make 4 pages of this new version, gradually moving from easy to hard, just like we always do. And this will help the child smoothly transition from counting by tens to understanding tens and ones together. Perfect! Now we'll copy the last page we designed and just change the title to Count the Tens and Ones bars. This signals the new challenge. Next, we'll need those single yellow cubes we used before. I'll shrink them slightly and change their color to white so they match the rest of the cubes in the columns. Consistency makes it visually easier for the kids to follow. For example, in the first exercise on this page, we can place 2 full bars plus 3 single cubes, giving multiple answer options for the child. The correct answer here is 23. In the second exercise, we can place 4 full bars and 8 single cubes, making the total 48. We'll continue like this for 4 or 5 pages, gradually increasing the difficulty just like before. I'll speed up this part, but the method is exactly the same, from easy to challenging, helping children master counting tens and ones at the same time. We're almost done with 90 pages of this amazing book. Just 10 pages left dedicated to geometric shapes. These pages will teach children basic shapes in a way that's super simple and age appropriate, perfectly matching their level and attention span. I really believe this math activity book we designed together is full of fun, engaging activities that kids will love and parents will absolutely appreciate. Trust me, creating a book like this is totally worth it, even if it sells slowly at first. The value and quality will make it a hit over time. All right, let's create our first geometric shapes page. I'll start by adding a rectangle at the top of the page. I just copied it from the previous page. Then, right-clicking, I'll add a column, so the rectangle now has 2 perfectly even cells. Next, I'll go to the Elements library and add a circle. This will be the main shape for our first page. Remember, the first page is always the hardest, so we want it clear but challenging. I'll change the circle's color to transparent and add black borders to make it perfectly visible and easy to trace. Okay, now let's focus on teaching the child the word circle together with the shape itself. I will right-click on the table and choose Add Row. After that, I will split the right cell into 2 separate cells so we can organize the word exercises. Then I will select the left column, right-click, and choose Merge Cells. Now the left side has one single big cell, which will contain the circle shape. The right side now has 2 cells arranged vertically. The top cell on the right will be empty, allowing the child to color the word circle. The bottom cell on the right will have the word circle in dashed lines, so the child can trace it and practice writing it. This way, the child sees the shape, recognizes the word, colors it, and practices writing it. I've included the ABC print font in the first pinned comment below, so you can use it for tracing freely. Now I got a brilliant idea to help the child easily draw the circle shape. I will add 2 horizontal lines first, creating a guide for the child. Then I will place a dashed circle between the lines. I'll change the dashed circle's color to gray, making it slightly transparent so the child can trace over it comfortably. After that, I will copy this dashed circle multiple times, let's say 4 times, and place them along the lines to fill the page width. On top of this activity, we'll add the title Trace and Circles, then color them, making it fun and clear for the child. Now, let's add another activity to this page. This geometric shapes page is packed with different exercises, which is amazing for learning. I'll copy the title, and for this new exercise, we'll place a large rectangle and set the title inside it. Find the circles and color them. Inside this large rectangle, we'll add multiple geometric shapes, including the circle shape we're focusing on in this page. The child's task is to find all the circles and color them. To do this, I'll copy the circle from the top of the page and place it inside the rectangle. I'll duplicate it 8 times and arrange them neatly. Then, I'll select some of the circles, go to the Edit menu at the top, and change them into different geometric shapes. For example, first circle, square; second, pentagon; third, triangle; fourth, star; fifth, diamond. I'll leave 3 circles intact among these shapes so the child has to spot and color them. This way, the exercise becomes fun, interactive, and educational. Now let's review the full page. At the top of the page, the child will see the geometric shape, the circle. They will then learn the name of this shape and practice writing it, which helps them connect the shape with its word. Moving down a bit, the child will practice drawing the shape themselves on the dotted circles and even color them, reinforcing recognition and motor skills. Finally, at the bottom of the page, the last activity challenges the child to find circles among different shapes and color them. I think this page is super fun and educational, giving the child multiple ways to learn, write, draw, and identify circles. So here's what we're doing for the next geometric shape, the square. First, I'll quickly copy the circle page and change all the labels from circle to square. Then I'll click on the circle at the top, go to Edit, and change it into a square. I'll do the same for all the other circles on the page so everything matches the new shape. In the last activity at the bottom, instead of circles, I'll place squares and replace all the other shapes with different ones to ensure variety. We don't want the same shapes as on the circle page. And that's it! This page is now fully dedicated to squares, just like we did with the circles. Now we're moving on to creating 10 pages for geometric shapes, just like we did with the circle and square, to complete the book up to 100 pages. We'll include triangle, rectangle, oval, and more. But focus here on the oval. Since the oval isn't available directly in the shape library, here's the trick. We take a circle, stretch it slightly from the right side, and merge it with the left. Magically, it becomes an oval. We'll repeat this to fill the page with ovals. And I'll speed this part up to save time. Then we'll make pages for diamond, heart, pentagon, and hexagon, following the same method to teach children all these shapes in a fun, consistent way. And just like that, we've finished designing all 100 pages of our book. But here's a very important note. We forgot one detail: page numbers. So we'll go back to the first page and place the number 1 at the bottom, then 2 on the second page, 3 on the third, and continue this way all the way to 100. Don't worry, we already reserved spaces at the bottom of each page for the numbers, so it'll be smooth. Just focus carefully and follow the order, and you won't make any mistakes. Now, my friend, let's see the result of our long effort designing this 100-page math book for kids aged 3 and up. If we look at the first 10 pages, we'll see they are dedicated to teaching children how to write numbers from 1 to 100. Then, as we move to the next exercise, we have a page that teaches the child how to find and write the missing number in these number grids. After that, we introduce a brilliant matching exercise, where the child counts objects and connects them to the correct numbers, making learning numbers both fun and interactive. Then, in the next exercise, the child counts the objects, chooses the correct number, and colors it. After that, we move to a slightly harder exercise where the child counts the objects and writes the number by themselves. Then we reach the first addition exercise, using fun shapes that kids love, making addition easy and engaging. Next, we progress to a harder stage, adding numbers directly without using shapes. After that, we introduced exercises with preset results, asking the child to write the number that reaches the total, which is a clever way to bridge addition into subtraction. Then, we move to skip counting exercises, helping the child add quickly and handle larger numbers. And after that, we got to the first subtraction exercise, using pictures just like we did with addition, making learning subtraction intuitive and fun. After that, we moved on to the number subtraction exercises, gradually progressing from easy to harder problems. The second to last section of our book focused on comparing numbers, and then on comparing arithmetic operations, whether addition or subtraction. After that, the child practices counting columns containing 10 blocks, and then progresses to columns with 10 blocks plus extra single blocks, following a gradual increase in difficulty. And I've mentioned this again and again more than 10 times, that the key to this book is progressing from easy to hard exercises. If you don't follow this gradual difficulty, the parent might lose interest and not complete the book with their child. In the final section of our book, we focused on geometric shapes, and for each shape, we included 3 or 4 exercises per page. I'm sure now you can even create an entire book just on geometric shapes. I've given you plenty of ideas. Once we finish designing the full book, we'll export it as a PDF, and pay attention here. Choose the Flatten PDF option. I'll explain shortly why this option is so important. All right, my friend, now that we've finished designing this amazing 100-page book, let's move on to one of the most asked questions ever: how to design the book cover. So, to get started, we're going to visit a website that gives us the exact dimensions Amazon KDP approves for covers. The website is called KDP Cover Calculator. First, we'll choose the book type. That's paperback. Then, for the interior, we'll select black and white with white paper. Next, we'll choose the reading direction, left to right, since this is an English book. Then, we'll set the book size to 8.5 by 11 inches. And finally, we'll type in the number of pages, 100 pages. Once we click Calculate, the website will instantly generate the correct cover dimensions for our book. And trust me, this step is super important if you want your cover to print perfectly on Amazon KDP. What we need to do now is simple. We'll take the width of the book that appears in the first line of the calculator results, then head back to Canva and create a new design using that exact width. After that, we'll return to the website, copy the height of the book, and use it as the height for our new Canva design. This gives us the perfect canvas size for our book cover. Next, we'll go back to the KDP cover calculator one last time, scroll down, and click the Download Template button. That will give us a handy image file, a layout showing where the front cover, back cover, and spine go. Then we'll simply upload that image straight into Canva as our guide for designing the full cover. This way, every element from the title to the spine will be perfectly aligned and Amazon ready. Now, we're going to enlarge this template image so it covers the entire Canva page perfectly. Notice those red edges around the sides? These are the trim lines. That means anything you place there, text, images, or logos, might get cut off during printing by Amazon. So make sure to keep all your important elements inside those safe areas. And look right at the red vertical line in the center. That's the spine of your book. Everything to the right side of that line will be your front cover, and everything to the left side will be the back cover. So think of it like this: left equals back, right equals front, middle equals spine. Once you understand that, designing your book cover becomes super easy and professional looking. All right, now pay close attention to this step. It's super important. We're going to press Shift plus R on the keyboard, and Canva will instantly show rulers along the top and the left side of your workspace. All you need to do now is click and drag those rulers to create guidelines right on top of the red edges, just like this. Drag one for each red border around the cover. It's really simple once you try it. And here's the cool part. After you've placed rulers on every red edge, you can delete the template image completely. Now your Canva page already has all the perfect measurements and safe zones set up for your cover design. That means you're ready to start designing your front and back cover with total accuracy. No more guessing or alignment mistakes. So many of you keep asking me, how do I write my book description, keywords, and title? I know, this part feels really hard for a lot of people, but honestly, it's actually super easy, and that's exactly where AI comes to the rescue. We're going straight to the magical website, ChatGPT. It's pure magic right before your eyes. Here's what we'll do. I'll tell it that I've designed a 100-page book, and then I'll list out all the exercises we included in the book. After that, I'll ask it to help me create everything I need to publish on Amazon and Etsy. I'll ask it to write a short and catchy title, create a subtitle, write a full book description, give me 13 short keywords for Etsy, and 7 long-tail keywords for Amazon. Plus, suggest the best category for my book. That's it. All you need to do is describe your book clearly and in detail, and the AI will do all the writing for you like a pro. And just like that, in seconds, it gives you everything you asked for. Right at the start, it shows you multiple title options, and honestly, some of them are just brilliant. I personally picked the first one because it really stood out to me. It's catchy and fits the book perfectly. Then, it also gave me a subtitle, a detailed and accurate description of the book, and even separated the Amazon keywords from the Etsy keywords. Super organized. And the best part? It even picked the perfect category for our book automatically. I read through everything carefully, and wow, it was so accurate and professional. Honestly, way better than what most designers write manually. Alright, now let's jump straight into designing our book cover, and we're going to move fast. First thing we'll do is add a background for the cover. And honestly, when it comes to kids' books, I always love using a garden background. It just gives that fresh, happy, playful feeling. So I'll head over to the search bar in Canva, type garden background. Canva will show me tons of amazing options. Now I'll pick the one that looks the most fun and colorful. Yes, this one's perfect. Let's make it bigger so it covers the entire cover area. We want it to pop and fill the space beautifully. There we go. Now it's looking bright, cheerful, and totally kid-friendly. Now I'm going to add a rectangle right here. Let's change its color to white and make it nice and big. Remember what I told you earlier? The right side of our layout is the front cover of the book. So I'll place this big white rectangle at the bottom half of that front cover. And what's the purpose of this white box? Well, it's simple. This is where we'll show a few sample exercises from inside the book. That way, when someone looks at our cover, they can instantly see what kind of fun math activities are inside. It makes the book more attractive and helps it sell faster. Alright, now it's time to add our cover title. I'm going to use the title that ChatGPT gave me. It's simple, catchy, and perfect for our audience. So I'll just add a text box, change the font to one of my favorites, Genty Sans, and type in our title, Fun with Numbers, Preschool Math Workbook. I'll split it into 2 lines to make it clearer and easier to read, and of course I'll play around with the colors a bit. Maybe use some bright, cheerful tones that kids love. This way, our book cover looks more eye-catching, playful, and professional, something that really stands out in a sea of children's books. Now that we've finished placing the main title, let's move on to the subtitle, and this step is super important. I'll go back to ChatGPT and copy the subtitle it gave me earlier, then paste it right below the main title. I'll make it smaller in size and change its color to black so it looks clean and professional. Next, I'll open the math workbook we designed together and copy a few sample exercises from it, the ones that look fun and match each other in style. I'll place them neatly inside the white box we added earlier. This will instantly show buyers what's inside the book. And to make it even more appealing, I'll add a few images of kids holding pencils, smiling, and learning. Because remember, this book is made for preschoolers around age 3 who are just starting to learn using pencils. Now we can head back to ChatGPT and grab a few catchy phrases, like this one, to place at the bottom of the front cover, just like that. Anything that comes to your mind, anything that adds personality to your design, you can include it right there. Alright, we've officially finished the front cover. And now, let's move on to the back cover, which is honestly the easiest part. All we need to do here is add a few sample pages from our book so buyers can preview what's inside. To do that, I'll go back to the workbook and pick my favorite pages, the ones that look most engaging and represent the book best. Then, I'll download them one by one as PNG images. Let's say around 9 pages should be perfect for the back cover preview. After that, we'll head back to our book cover and upload all the images we just downloaded from our workbook. Then I'll arrange 6 of these pages neatly, 2 rows, each with 3 pages, so it looks clean and balanced. Now, to make those sample pages really pop, I'll add a red border around each one. Here's how. I'll select all the pages together, go to the stroke option at the top, set the border thickness to 2, and then change the color from black to a bright red. This simple detail makes the preview pages stand out beautifully on the back cover. It looks organized, professional, and instantly grabs attention. If we find any empty space below these images, we can easily fill it by adding a short description of the book on the back cover. I actually asked ChatGPT to write me a short back cover description, and it turned out great. So now, I'll just copy that text and paste it neatly under the preview images, just like this. That small paragraph adds a nice finishing touch to the design. It tells buyers exactly what the book offers and makes the cover look complete and professional. But here's a critical warning, something you absolutely must pay attention to, because if you miss it, Amazon will reject your book. When we go back and recheck the page we downloaded from the KDP cover calculator, you'll notice that the back cover area includes a yellow rectangle. That yellow zone marks the barcode placement area. You must leave that space completely empty. No text, no images, nothing at all. If you accidentally place anything inside that yellow box, your book will be rejected during the KDP upload process. So now, I'll carefully add the book description to the back cover, making sure it stays clear of that yellow barcode area. And now, in just a few minutes, we've created an amazing book cover. The front cover shows some of the fun exercises from inside the book, beautifully arranged, along with cute images that kids absolutely love. The back cover displays 6 sample pages from the book, plus a short, catchy description that tells parents exactly what this workbook is all about. Now, it's time to download the entire cover as a PDF file. And just like we did with the book itself, I'll choose the option Flatten PDF. This step is very important, and I'll explain why in a moment. And now, my dear friend, we're almost at the end of this video. Let's move quickly to the next step, designing the Etsy listing pictures. I get this question all the time in my previous videos. How do you design those Etsy product images? Well, guess what? The process is actually way simpler than you think. You don't need any advanced skills or complicated tools. Once you understand the concept, you'll be able to create stunning, high-converting Etsy listing images in just minutes. All right, let's head over to Canva and create a brand new design. Make sure to set the dimensions to 3000 by 2250 pixels, which are the perfect measurements for your Etsy product images. Once that's ready, remember, Etsy allows you to upload up to 20 images for your listing. But for now, we'll just design a few of them to get started. The first image we need is the cover image, the one that shows your book's front cover beautifully. Oh, and before I forget, make sure you also download your book cover as a PNG file, because we're going to need that image when creating our Etsy product visuals. First things first, we're going to set up the background for our Etsy images. Let's change the plain white background to any color you like. Personally, I'll go with a bright yellow. It looks cheerful and perfect for kids' math books. Next, head over to the Elements tab and search for Math Background. You'll find tons of cute and creative designs. Let's pick one. I'll choose this one with the geometric shapes. Now, we'll remove the background from that image so the geometric patterns appear transparent over our yellow base. You can then resize it to cover the entire page. But here's a trick I love. Instead of leaving the shapes large, duplicate the image several times and arrange them side by side so the shapes appear smaller and more detailed across the background. Finally, to keep the focus on our product, let's lower the transparency of these geometric shapes to around 30%, giving us a nice, subtle background that looks polished but doesn't distract from the main content. Now that our background is ready, it's time to make our first Etsy image, the one that shows off our book cover. So let's go ahead and upload the book cover image we previously downloaded. And now, here's where the magic happens. Go to the Elements tab and search for book mockups. You'll find tons of great options: front covers, open books, 3D perspectives, all designed to make your product look professional. I'll choose this particular mockup because it fits perfectly with our book style. Once you add it to your page, just drag your book cover image and drop it inside the mockup frame. And in seconds, it'll look like a real printed book. But remember, for this image, we only want to show the front cover, not the back or spine. So pick a mockup that focuses on that beautiful front view. It'll instantly grab attention and make your product look like a bestseller. Perfect! Now, here's the fun part. Let's double click on the mockup image. Once you do that, Canva will open up the mockup editing window where you can fully control what appears inside. All you need to do now is resize your book cover inside that window. Make sure the right side of your cover, the front cover, completely fills the mockup frame. That's the part shoppers will focus on first, so let's make it stand out beautifully. Once you're happy with how it looks, just hit Apply Changes. And there you go. Your mockup instantly transforms into a realistic 3D style image that looks like a real printed workbook. It's clean, bright, and absolutely eye-catching. Perfect for your Etsy listing. But if you notice that your cover image looks a bit faded or blurry, don't worry. Canva has the perfect fix. Just open the Image Upscaler tool to instantly boost the quality and sharpness of your image. And here's another quick trick. Click on the cover, go to the Edit tab, and play with brightness, contrast, and saturation until the colors pop. You'll see how much more vivid and professional it looks. Brighter reds, richer yellows, sharper text. Keep adjusting until you get that clean, colorful, and high energy look that makes moms and teachers stop scrolling. Perfect! Now that we're done with the first listing image, the rest will be a breeze. For the next images, all we're going to do is add 2 pages from inside the book to each one. Simple and clean. Just upload the interior pages you downloaded earlier, drag them into your new Etsy mockup design, and position them side by side. This gives shoppers a sneak peek inside your workbook, something they absolutely love to see before buying. Once your pages are in place, go ahead and add black borders around them. That little touch makes your preview pages stand out and look super professional. And now, let's check out the final result. You'll see how these clean previews instantly make your product look polished, trustworthy, and ready to sell. And now, we're officially done designing the Etsy product images. The first image proudly shows the book cover, while the rest beautifully display sample pages from inside, all against that fun, colorful geometric background. Honestly, This design is one of the best simple layouts you can create. It catches the eye instantly and gives buyers a clear idea of what they're getting. That's exactly what makes products stand out on Etsy. You can even take it a step further. If you have access to a printer, try printing your book and recording a short video with your phone. Flip through a few pages, show the quality, and upload it as a product video. It costs you nothing, but adds huge value. But even if you can't film a video right now, don't worry. The images we just designed together are absolutely stunning and more than enough to make your product shine. All right, my friends, I'm honestly so tired right now, but I'm holding strong, and I'm going to finish this video with full energy for you all. So let's move on to the next step, uploading our book to Etsy. I actually got a little help this time from one of our amazing viewers, Ruby, who created a brand new Etsy account just for this project. I'll be using her account to upload the book today, so a big thank you to Ruby for making this possible. We'll go straight to Etsy and click Add a Listing. Pay close attention so you upload the product correctly. First, it asks for the category for our book, so all we need to do is go back to ChatGPT. It already wrote everything for us earlier. I'll copy the category it suggested and paste it right here in Etsy. Next, Etsy will ask you whether your product is digital or physical. And of course, this one is a digital product, so we'll select that option. Then I'll choose that I designed this product myself and also that it's a finished item, meaning the book is already fully designed. After that, Etsy asks for the date when the book was created, so I'll select 2025. Now, if your book was designed using AI tools, you'd choose the second option related to AI creation. But since we made this book completely without using AI, I'll pick the first option. And now we can move on to filling in the book details. First, we'll paste the book title here. Everything ChatGPT wrote for us, so I'll just copy what we prepared earlier and place the title in this field. Next, it asks you to upload the product images, the ones we just designed together. So we'll upload the 8 images we created. One important note, make sure the cover image is the main image, the primary photo that appears first in your product gallery. Then we'll move to the digital files section. Here we'll upload the book's PDF files and the cover. Super easy. It even asks you to paste the book description. In fact, ChatGPT already wrote it for us, so all we need to do is copy and paste it here. But you must review it carefully, read through it, and check whether any edits are needed. For example, I found a small tweak. There are some spaces I don't want, so I'll delete those spaces so it looks better, like this. After we finish adding the description, it will ask us to set a price for the book. For example, I'll set it at $3.98, which is a very reasonable price for a 100-page book with this level of quality and creativity. Next, it asks for the quantity of this product. Since this is a digital product, we'll set the maximum quantity, which is 999. Then you'll see some settings related to physical products. Here, it asks me to enter keywords, and it requires 13 keywords. So once again, I'll go back to ChatGPT. It already wrote everything for us, and I'll simply copy and paste them here. Of course, you can review them. I already did, and they're absolutely perfect. Finally, it asks about the material the product is made from. Since this is a digital product, we'll just leave this field empty. And finally, we come to the settings for renewing this product. Personally, I prefer to set the renewal to manual. That way, the products that don't sell won't automatically renew, and only the ones that actually make sales and profits will be renewed. After that, I'll simply click on Publish, and just like that, in a few easy, quick steps, our product is now live on Etsy. Isn't that amazingly simple? Let's take a look at it together on Etsy. The price here is $4.54, and let's check out the images. I think they're absolutely beautiful. Honestly, some of the best on Etsy. I always love simplicity in design because it really catches the eyes of moms. Here's the book title, and it clearly says it's a digital product. And right here is the amazing description that ChatGPT wrote for us. Such a great result, and I absolutely love how it turned out. Because I'm honestly a bit tired, let's move straight to uploading the book on Amazon. It's actually just as easy as Etsy. We'll head directly to our account on Amazon. And by the way, this isn't my own account, it's Ruby's account. She's the one who helped me, so let's thank her once again for allowing us to use it. Then we'll click on Create New Listing, and after that, we'll choose Paperback. Pay close attention to these steps, because Amazon is a bit more complicated. First, we'll choose the language of the book. In our case, it's English. Then, we'll place the book title in the title field, and right below it, we'll enter the subtitle in the subtitle field. All of this was already written for us by ChatGPT earlier, so that makes things easier. After that, we'll add the name of the designer of this book. In this case, since I gave the book to Ruby, I'll write her name here. And if someone else designed your book, you can add their name as well, meaning you can actually include more than one designer if needed. Then after that, we'll write the book description here. All we have to do is go back to ChatGPT and copy the long description it wrote for us, and we can just edit it a little so it looks better. Here it asks you, are you the designer of this book? So we'll choose yes. It also asks, does this book contain adult-only content? We'll say no. Pay close attention to this step because if you choose yes, the book will be age restricted, and I don't think it will get sales. Then it asks you to enter the age range this book is aimed at. We'll choose roughly ages 3 to 12 for the math book we designed. After that, it asks me to add the book category. It's really simple. We'll choose that this is a children's book, and then we'll pick that it's an activity book aimed at teaching kids math. Just like that, the process is super easy. You can even add up to 3 categories if you'd like, and you can also use AI to help you choose them. But honestly, I think this step is very straightforward. Then it gives you 2 options. Is this a low content book or a large print book? In our case, this book is large print. But for example, if you designed a planner or something with mostly lines, that would be considered low content. Then it asks you to write 7 keywords only. We already asked ChatGPT to write them for us earlier, so I'll just go back, copy them, and paste them right here. Of course, you can review them and make any small edits if needed. And just like that, we're done with the first page of the Amazon setup. Now I'll click on Save and Continue, the yellow button at the bottom, and move on to the next step. At the beginning of the second page, we'll click on Get a Free ISBN, because if you buy this number yourself, it's going to cost a lot of money. After that, it'll ask you to choose the color of your book. In our case, it's black and white, so we'll select black and white. Then it'll ask you to choose the book size. For us, the size is 8.5 by 11 inches. We'll leave the rest of the settings as they are. Oh, and one more thing, the bleed setting. That means if the edges of your pages contain images or designs that go all the way to the border, you should select bleed. And after that, in this section, we'll upload our book as a PDF file. Then we'll wait a little while for it to finish uploading. In this part for the cover, we'll choose the option that says we already have a cover we designed. You could use the first option to design a cover directly on Amazon's website, but honestly, I don't recommend doing that at this stage. So here, we'll upload our own cover too. Then it'll ask, did you design this book using artificial intelligence? And I'll answer no, because I didn't create it with AI. After that, we'll click the yellow button titled Launch Preview to see how our book will actually look on Amazon's website. The file will open just like this. Here, you can see the front and back covers displayed beautifully. They look amazing. You can also scroll through the inside pages of the book to review them. Honestly, I think they look really, really great and don't need any changes at all. I absolutely love how it turned out. After that, we'll move on to the pricing section. It tells you here that printing this book will cost $2.84. So we'll click the Save and Continue button at the bottom to move to the third page. And now we're on the third and final page, the pricing section. Here's a quick tip. When you're just starting out selling digital products, always keep your profit margins small, maybe $1.50 or $2 at most. Once you start getting more sales and build a loyal audience that loves your work, then you can slowly increase your prices to $3 or even $4. For example, if we set the price here to $7.98, we'll see that our profit margin is only $1.15. You can always adjust the book's price right here in this box to set your profit however you like. In my case, I'll leave it at $7.98, just like I mentioned. And now, I'll click on Publish Your Paperback. The book is now officially live on Amazon. However, it'll go through a review process that usually takes up to 72 hours before it gets approved. After we finished designing and uploading this book on Amazon, Ruby messaged me just a few hours later saying it was already approved, no issues at all. So, if you follow the exact steps I shared with you throughout this course, you won't face any problems either. Your book will get approved the very first time. And now, my friend, after explaining to you the first and second methods, the first one being to hire a designer to create a book for you, which, as I mentioned, will cost you quite a bit of money. So I really don't recommend starting with that when you're just beginning. The second method is to design the book yourself. We actually did that together. We designed a full 100-page book, created its cover, and even made the product images we'll upload to Etsy. But the downside of this second method is that it takes a lot of time. Designing a single book can take days. For example, this math book took me 2 or 3 days to finish, and that's because I already have experience. For someone new, it might take a week or even 2. That's why I recommend using the third method, which we're about to talk about right now. And now it's time for the third method. I believe this method won't even take us 10 minutes to do. It's that fast. This time, instead of starting from scratch, we'll simply buy ready-made, high-quality bundles and use them to design our own books. But the real question is, how do we choose the right bundle? That's exactly what we're about to find out next. So if we go to my bundle, for example, you'll see it contains 80 books, each with roughly 30 pages. Here's the key advantage. All the books can be merged together. This is exactly the feature you should look for when choosing a bundle to buy. If you can combine all the books to create completely new books, I definitely recommend buying it. If not, don't buy it. That's my advice, and you'll see exactly what I mean in just a moment. By the way, for a very limited time, I've applied a 20% discount with the code MOE20, so you should grab it now. We're going to use it together to create a full book in less than 10 minutes. This is the beauty of ready-made bundles. You can create a new book every single day. So imagine making 100 or even 200 books super easily. And I'm going to show you exactly how right now. After you purchase the bundle, and not just my bundle, but many bundles along your journey, once we buy it and get the files, you'll receive PDFs as well as ready-made Canva templates that you can easily edit. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the best-selling products are math books and various children's activity books. We created a full math book together, but that took us a lot of time. Now, using this bundle, you can create a math book even better than the one we made together in less than half an hour. I left you more than 7 math books in this bundle, so you can merge them however you like. And now, quickly, let's create an activity book. Let's say around 50 to 60 pages. I just want to show you the idea and how we'll use this bundle to create this activity book step by step. All you have to do is open the file with the Canva links, and you'll find tons and tons of different activity books. More than 20 books. For example, I'll take the link for this one book, which is an activity that teaches kids how to use a pencil. The child will trace the shapes and then color them in. For example, I'll just take 5 images or 5 pages from this book. All you need to do is create a new design with the dimensions 8.5 by 11 inches. This will become the original activity book. I'll go back to the book we opened on Canva. It's the Pencil Control Level 2 book. For example, let's pick 5 random pages that we like from this book. All I have to do is click on the icon at the bottom of Canva that looks like 4 squares next to each other. Then I'll select the 5 pages I want, and after that, I'll press Ctrl+C to copy these pages. Next, I'll go back to the original design and press Ctrl+V to paste these 5 pages. And the first page of the activity book will be the name page. I already showed you this in the math book. Now, let's look at the 5 pages we just copied. They're really beautiful. If you want, for example, to change the style of the title, I'll place the title on a straight line just like we did in the previous book. You can also change the font, its style, and color, just like I showed you before. But make sure that the layout of the pages is completely consistent across all the pages, not just on one page. It's my responsibility to also teach you how to use the bundle to create a book easily. A lot of people who bought the bundle actually contacted me asking for guidance, so I decided to make this part a key section of this video. This way, you'll know exactly how to create your books quickly and professionally. For example, let's take 5 more pages from another book. I'll take the link for my other activity book, Word Search, and open it on Canva. Then, in the same way, I'll copy 5 pages and paste them into the main book we're creating. We'll also change the title style to whatever we like, and we'll keep adjusting the title on all 5 pages until we're done. This way, every page looks consistent and exactly how we want it. Now, let's quickly move on to the next 5 pages. I'll go to the Mazes book and, in the same way, copy 5 pages from it. If you look at the designs I've made, you'll see that all the books in this bundle are extremely high quality, which is why I strongly recommend getting them today and starting to design amazing books. Using the same method, I'll add these pages to the activity book we're creating right now. And of course, I'll adjust the title style just like we did before. And now we're moving on to another type of activity, a really fun one called Find the Difference. I think if you tried to design this activity book from scratch, it would take you at least 15 days. But I've left you a full book of this activity, professionally designed, and you'll find it in the bundle. I'll take 5 pages from it and then add them to the activity book we're creating together. This way, you save so much time while still getting an amazing, high-quality book. Next, let's move on to the following activity. For example, scissors activities. Using the same method, we'll copy 5 pages from this book and then paste them into the main activity book. I'll do the same with several other activities as well. I don't want to waste your time, so I'll show you the final result in just a little while. We can also add even more exercises like dot markers, dot to dot, matching activities, and word scramble. All of these activities are favorites among kids. Then we'll make sure to adjust the title on all of these pages so that the titles are consistent and perfectly matched throughout the book. This way, the entire activity book looks professional and fun. And don't forget, at the end, to add corners to the pages of this book. Now, let me show you the activity book we designed in less than 10 minutes using my bundle of 80 books. If you want to get this bundle for yourself, you'll find the link in the pinned comment below. This method makes creating high-quality books super fast and easy. The first page is for the child's name and the copyright information. The first 5 pages in the book are trace dotted shapes activities. Then, the next 5 pages are word search exercises. We already explained how to create this activity in a previous video. If you want, you can check out that video on the channel. In these word search pages, the child looks for the words hidden in the square at the bottom of the page. Next, we moved on to 5 more pages of mazes, really fun exercises where the child follows the correct path, maybe helping a little fish, for example, to reach a pond. And it continues like that throughout the activity. Next, we move on to the following 5 pages, which are Find the Differences Between the Two Pictures activities. This is one of the best exercises you'll find in the bundle. The child colors the shapes and finds the differences between the two images. We can also add a title for this activity if we want. Then we move on to the next exercise, which is scissors activities. Here, the child colors the picture and then uses scissors to cut it out and enjoy the activity. We can also add a title for this activity to make it look polished and fun. Next in this amazing book is the dot markers coloring activity. The child uses colored pencils to fill in the circles within the shapes. We can also add a title to these pages if you want. Then, the next exercise is a bit more challenging. It's Connect the Dots. These pages contain 3 exercises. In the first, the child connects the numbers to create a beautiful shape. After that, they color the shape and even draw it themselves. This makes the activity both fun and educational. The next exercise is a Connecting Shapes activity, where the child connects shapes together. Then, we move on to the second to last exercise, which is Word Scramble. We give the child some pictures with jumbled letters above them, and the child uses these letters to identify the pictures. For example, the first picture might be a cat, and we put the letters T, C, A above it. The child colors the cat and writes the correct word. Finally, the last exercise is Write the Missing Letter. We give the child a picture and write the name of the picture below it, but leave one letter missing. The child's job is to find and write the missing letter. For example, with the cat picture, we might write C_T, and the child has to fill in the missing A. And after we finish designing our complete book using the bundle, we'll download it as a PDF. Then we'll design a cover for it just like we did before. After that, we'll upload it to Amazon and Etsy. I really hope you make a lot of sales from it. This method can be super profitable if you follow it correctly. And that brings us to the end of the full course. I really hope you enjoyed it. I want to let you know that I put a lot of effort into creating this course, and my channel is packed with valuable videos where I teach you how to design products from start to finish. So don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and drop an encouraging comment for all this hard work. I'll see you in a new video soon, but first, I'm going to take a little rest because I'm a bit tired. See you in the next video, and goodbye for now.